Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I'm so thrilled you're joining us today because we're going to completely shatter every illusion you might have about the so-called normal animal kingdom. We look at the creatures outside our windows or the ones we see on nature docs, and we kind of think we have them all figured out, right? Well, actually, scratch that. The truth is, the natural world is utterly bizarre, slightly terrifying, and just incredibly fascinating. Seriously, by the time we wrap up today, there is no way you'll look at a simple butterfly or a fluffy bunny rabbit the exact same way ever again. Let's get into it. So let's kick things off with something you've probably walked right past a million times. Have you ever actually stopped to think about what a slug is? Evolutionarily speaking, a slug is literally just a snail that lost its shell somewhere down the line. But here's where it gets wild. Both slugs and snails have this unbelievable superpower. They can crawl directly along the razor-sharp blade of a knife, right on the edge, without taking a single scratch. None. Some can even walk on water. It instantly begs the question, if the humble garden slug is out here doing stunt work, what on earth are the rest of these common creatures hiding from us? Which brings us to our first section, deceptive looks and hidden superpowers.
Okay, I want you to take a wild guess here. When you look at a typical, slow-moving, squishy little garden snail, how many teeth do you think it packs into that tiny mouth? Like 10? Maybe 100? We humans only have 32 as adults, so it can't be that many, right? Well, brace yourself.
The sheer, mind-boggling reality of snail biology is 14,000 teeth. Yeah, you heard that right. Most snails have over 14,000 teeth. And get this, they're all located right on their tongue. But wait, it gets crazier. There's this specific type of aquatic snail called a limpet. And while it only has a measly 1,900 teeth by comparison, those teeth are forged from literally the hardest material ever known in biology. You've probably heard that spider silk is stronger than steel, right? Well, limpet teeth are actually stronger than titanium. Just think about that. If a house cat had teeth made of that material, it would absolutely be the most dangerous animal on the planet. And their bizarre biology doesn't stop there. Just think about how we rest. We humans aim for, about 8 hours a night? A snail? It can just go to sleep for 3 straight years. Let me put that into perspective for a second. A snail's entire lifespan is only about 9 years long. That means they spend a full third of their entire existence just sleeping, completely continuously. Although, to be totally fair, humans spend about a third of our lives sleeping too. We just break ours up into daily, manageable chunks instead of a 3-year mega now. Okay, moving from the garden to the tundra. Our eyes are completely deceiving us when it comes to the Arctic's greatest predator. We all picture polar bears as these giant, fluffy, white creatures, right? But the reality? A polar bear's skin is actually as dark as a brown bear's. And their hair? It isn't white at all. Every single individual strand of hair is completely transparent, colorless, and hollow, literally just like a tiny drinking straw. So the air trapped inside those hollow hairs scatters the sunlight perfectly, tricking our eyes into seeing the color white. It's actually the exact same optical illusion that makes snowflakes look white. As if this invisible camouflage isn't intense enough, polar bears harbor a seriously lethal biological secret. They mostly eat seals, and seal blubber is incredibly rich in vitamin A. Over time, the polar bear's liver processes and stores so much of this nutrient that it actually becomes highly toxic to humans. To give you an idea of how potent this is, just one single polar bear liver contains enough concentrated vitamin A to lethally poison 52 people. 52! That's a rapid-fire fact that absolutely proves you do not want to mess with the apex of the food chain. Now here's a hilarious bit of word trivia for you that actually clears up a massive geographical misconception. People are always wondering if polar bears and penguins ever cross paths in the wild. Well, the answer is hiding right there in the names of the poles. The word Arctic literally translates from its Greek roots to mean bear, and Antarctic, you guessed it, that translates to no bear. So since penguins live exclusively down south in the no bear zone, nature has ensured these two iconic cold weather animals are never ever gonna meet. Speaking of penguins, when you see them waddling around on the ice, looking super dapper like they're wearing tuxedos, they look like they have a completely straight, upright posture. But if you were to look at their skeletal structure underneath all those thick feathers, they are actually locked into a permanent squatting position. I'm not kidding. They spend their entire lives in a deep, deep squat. And yet, despite this incredibly awkward skeletal setup, emperor penguins are such powerful athletes that they can jump up to 10 feet straight up into the air directly out of the water. Absolutely wild. All right, let's shift gears to Section 2, the dark secrets of insects. Forget everything you learned in grade school for this one.
Let's see how normal nature facts can just rapidly turn into sheer gothic horror. We all know butterflies drink sap and flower nectar, right? It's beautiful. But to get the essential salts and nutrients that those flowers lack, they will drink muddy water. Okay, not so bad, but then they'll move on to sweat, then urine, then animal poop, and yes, if they manage to find it, butterflies will happily drink actual, literal blood. So, the next time a beautiful, delicate butterfly lands on your arm, just remember, it might actually be checking to see if you have any open wounds.
And long before they become these little blood-drinking vampires of the sky, they're caterpillars. And caterpillars are absolute anatomical marvels. Think about this. The human body, in all its vast complexity, operates using about 629 muscles. A tiny wriggling caterpillar? It has an astonishing 4,000 muscles packed into that tiny little body of theirs. We are just completely and utterly outmatched in muscular complexity by a bug you could accidentally step on the sidewalk. Now, their metamorphosis into butterflies is way wilder than we usually think. We all know step 1, right? Enter the cocoon. And step 3, emerge as a beautiful butterfly. But step 2 is the downright crazy part. Inside that cocoon, the caterpillar doesn't just, sprout wings. It completely dissolves itself into a literal liquid puddle of organic soup and then rebuilds itself entirely from scratch. But here's the kicker. Scientists have actually discovered that the adult butterfly still retains the memories it formed when it was a caterpillar. Its brain turns to liquid and it still doesn't forget. How is that even possible? Moving right along to section 3, smart birds and bizarre bunnies. Okay, let's talk about crows, because they completely challenge our entire definition of intelligence. They actually understand the concept of death. When a crow dies, the flock will gather around and hold what is essentially a funeral to mourn. But they also act like little detectives. They'll examine the body in a makeshift post-mortem to figure out what killed their friend, basically so they can avoid that exact same danger in the future. And if they determine another crow murdered one of their own, the flock will turn on the killer and execute them. We are talking about a literal death penalty for murder, right there in the animal kingdom. Trust me, you absolutely do not want to get on a crow's bad side, because they hold legendary grudges. If you wrong a crow, it will memorize your specific face for at least 5 years. But it doesn't stop there. It will go back to its flock and communicate exactly what you look like, mobilizing all of its friends against you. And get this. Researchers even believe they can pass this facial recognition data down to the next generation. So you could literally be dive-bombed by the children of a crow you slightly annoyed years ago. No way, right? So let's dive into a somewhat gross but honestly biologically fascinating question. Why do adorable, fluffy rabbits eat their own poop every single day? I know, it sounds like the single most disgusting daily habit in the whole animal kingdom. But for a rabbit, this isn't just some weird quirk. It is actually a matter of pure life and death survival. The answer really lies in how they digest their food. Rabbits are incredible at converting food to body mass efficiently, but their digestive system just doesn't get all the nutrients out on the very first pass. So they end up producing 2 different types of waste. You've got the regular small round pellets that get left behind, and then you have this special, highly nutritional night poop. Because it's so packed with essential nutrients, the rabbit has to eat this night poop immediately, directly from the source, like literally bending its mouth straight down to retrieve it. They do it so incredibly fast that most rabbit owners never even realize it's happening. And that brilliantly illustrates this rather terrifying flaw in rabbit biology. Their teeth literally never stop growing, ever. To manage this constant growth, a rabbit heavily relies on chewing tough, fibrous roughage, things like hay and grass, to physically grind those teeth down daily. If they are fed only soft foods like just carrots or fruit, their teeth won't get filed down at all. They'll just keep growing, eventually curling back and growing straight through the poor animal's own skull. It's essentially a constant biological ticking clock. And finally, section 4, nature's ultimate regenerating mutants. Allow me to introduce you to the axolotl. So there are over 700 species of salamanders out there, and almost all of them follow a pretty standard path. They start out as these little aquatic babies with feathery gills, and they grow up into standard land-dwelling adults. But the axolotl? It basically just refuses to grow up. It stays entirely frozen in its adorable aquatic larval baby stage for its entire life, a really cool phenomenon known as neoteny. And wildly, they only exist naturally in one single place on the entire Earth, Lake Xochimilco near Mexico City. But the crucial point here is why scientists are just so utterly obsessed with them. often referring to them as nature's Frankenstein. The axolotl possesses the most intense regenerative capabilities of literally any vertebrate on the planet. For over 150 years, they've been the ultimate lab rats because of their frankly impossible ability to accept crazy biological modifications and just completely regenerate from severe trauma that would instantly kill any other creature. To really grasp the scale of this, if an axolotl loses a limb, it just grows right back. But it goes way deeper than that. They can regrow their tail, their heart, their lungs, pieces of their own brain, and even severed spinal cords, just as if nothing ever happened. Because of this, scientists have successfully stitched extra limbs onto their backs or moved a leg to a totally different part of the body. And the axolotl's body just casually accepts it. The limb fuses perfectly and actually begins to function. They have even survived experiments aimed at making two-headed chimeras. I mean, they are practically invincible. Well, we've reached the end of our explainer today. If a fragile butterfly happily drinks blood, if a tiny snail can sleep away 3 full years of its life, and if an axolotl can casually regrow its own brain, what other so-called normal creatures are out there right now, hiding bizarre, world-shattering secrets in plain sight? The animal kingdom is wild, it's alien, and it is completely unpredictable. So keep your eyes open, stay curious, and always, always question what you think you know about nature. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this today, and I will catch you on the next one.